If your art keeps collapsing under the weight of your life, it's not a motivation problem, it's a structural one.
Welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist podcast, where artists of all kinds come to fuel their passion, sharpen their skills, and thrive in their creative lives. I'm your host, Lara life and creativity coach and fellow artist, here to support you on your artistic journey. Whether you're a performer, writer, visual artist, or any kind of artist, this is the space for real talk, practical advice, and inspiring stories. Subscribe and join us each week for more inspiration and actionable insights to fuel your artistry. Let's dive in and get inspired.
Welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist podcast, the podcast for artists who want to build not just a body of work, but a life that can actually hold it. I'm Lara, an ICF PCC certified life and creativity coach, performer, and published author. And on this episode, it's launch week for my book, Audacious Artistry, Reclaim Your Creative Identity and Thrive in a Saturated World. It's not a book just about hacks. It's about your identity. It's about building a creative life that doesn't collapse every time rejection hits or momentum slows. And if you've ever felt like you're constantly rebuilding yourself from scratch as an artist, this book was written for you, and you can find it at larabiancapilcher.com/book. All right, let's get into it. We're talking about something deeper than productivity. We're talking about how to build a life that can hold your art long term. And the pattern that artists often don't see, but I see constantly in coaching artists. An artist will say something like, I just need to be more disciplined, or I need better time management, or I just need to work harder, push harder. But when we zoom out, what is actually happening? And this is what I see. Their life is not structured to support their art. And whether you're a dancer, an actor, a singer, a writer, a visual artist, a filmmaker, your art requires space. It requires emotional regulation. It requires time blocks that aren't constantly invaded by chaos. And yet many artists are trying to pour long game work into short-term survival structures. You're juggling your day job with no recovery time. You're parenting, maybe without support. You're saying yes to everything because you're scared to disappear. You're scrolling more than creating because you're exhausted, and then you blame your talent. Maybe you don't even realize you are. And here's what no one tells you, that art collapses when the life around it is unstable and can't hold it. Not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because creative work is actually psychologically demanding. It asks for risks, it asks for vulnerability, it asks for sustained attention in a very distracted world. And if your nervous system is constantly in this stressful, fight, flight, your art will shrink. And that's not a character flaw, that's just human design, that's biology. So let's flip the switch. The psychology of a sustainable creative life. Let's bring in some basic 101 human psychology into this. There are two forces at play here. One, cognitive load, mental load. Two, identity safety. Cognitive load is the amount of mental energy your brain is using just to survive your day. If you are overscheduled, underrested, and emotionally overloaded, your brain will prioritize immediate tasks over long-term creative work. And your art becomes non-essential. Don't have to do it to survive. So I'm going to class it as not necessary. Not because it is not essential, that's not true, but because your brain thinks it is. Second, let's look at identity safety. Now, when your environment constantly threatens your identity, when you feel overlooked, when you've had too many rejections, when you're putting maybe content out there and nobody's responding. Maybe you're financially unstable or socially unsupported and feeling really lonely. Your nervous system begins to question whether being an artist is safe. Do I even want to do this anymore? It might sound like. And when your identity doesn't feel safe, we unconsciously shrink it. And the truth I want you to hear is you cannot build a sustainable creative life on a survival nervous system. Let that land. You cannot build a sustainable creative life as an artist on a survival mode nervous system. Long game artistry is not about intensity. It is about sustainability. It's about asking, what rhythms support me? What boundaries protect my creative energy? What friendships help me feel full so that I can create with some kind of energy? What relationships reinforce my identity instead of eroding it? What time away or break do I need, even mini? Do I need a structure in so that I have the energy to do this? What income structures stabilize me enough to take the creative risks that I am longing to take? Building a life as an artist means building scaffolding, not glamour, scaffolding. And it looks like this: a realistic weekly rhythm or protected deep work time where you get to create, or income that doesn't constantly trigger panic. Fewer yeses maybe to things that you're saying yes to a lot that maybe they need to take a little pause or a break or a no. And maybe some more long-term thinking. A sustainable creative life isn't always dramatic, but it is steady. And steady is powerful in this crazy, busy, saturated world. If you're feeling overwhelmed and overlooked and underpaid and undernourished and not creatively alive, it's time to look at doing something different. And sometimes it's a simple little thing. And I've got something that might help. It's a free artist masterclass. It's the Artist Momentum Reset. It's called Stop Begging for Scraps, because that is the picture that I want artists to walk into. You don't need to beg. You need to find your creative voice and reclaim it and live from that place. This is a free video on-demand masterclass that goes just for 30 minutes, and you need a notebook and pen, and it's to help you stop waiting for permission and to start creating opportunities on your own terms. And this is not a live session. You don't have to meet with me or anybody else. There's no booking or pressure. You just watch it in your own time, and it will help you shift from reactive artistry into intentional long-term and long game thinking. And you can download it and watch it at larabiancapilcher.com/masterclass. Now let's get around this. Building a life that can hold your art does not mean quitting your job tomorrow. It does not mean uprooting your family, and it does not mean you have to go all in dramatically. It means you start designing for durability. For example, if you're a dancer auditioning, maybe, or training constantly, do you have recovery built in, not just for your body and your muscles, but for your soul? What are you doing to put into that artist tank? When are you seeing good art to be able to do good art? If you're an actor self-taping weekly, is your schedule structured for any kind of consistency outside of that? I would say that self-tapes are rarely convenient. I just did one today. I'm a little under the weather. I have been busy and it's not convenient. But I make sure that the rest of my life has things that are filling and that I can structure other things consistently, like my podcasting day is consistent, or my content that I create, there is a consistency. And then I go out and I enjoy a networking event or something that helps me feel like I'm not alone. If you're a writer, have you created a rhythm that protects deep focus? For example, now I am not about this rigid creativity, but a rhythm that you go, wow, I feel really fresh on Saturday mornings after my coffee, and that's my prime writing time. But for the last 3 weeks, I've booked a coffee with friends, and I haven't actually used that time to write. But I could have done that coffee in the afternoon, because by afternoon, my writing brain is too mushy. Do you see what I'm saying? What is the rhythm that works for your creativity? What is the rhythm that would work better for your self-taping or your classes or whatever? If you're a filmmaker, are you building community intentionally, not accidentally? Are you actually going out and thinking, no, I need to meet with other collaborators so that we can make something together? So that I'm aligning myself and putting myself in rooms of people that inspire and are looking for people like me. I went to 2 networking events last week. It felt wonderful. It was really energizing. Do I know if anything will come of those nights? No, of course not. Actually, an interview did come. I'm going to do an interview with someone I met last week about my new book, Audacious Artistry. So it wasn't, of course, but I don't know if film work will come out of it. But I met some amazing people and I showed up, and I feel energized by that. And that energy goes straight back into my creativity and what I'm doing here with you today. Long Game Artistry asks, what would this look like in 5 years? Not just next week, but 5 years. Too many artists live in 2-week windows or even 2-hour windows. We panic at slow months. We identify with these fast seasons. We're like, yeah, we've made it. Everything's happening. But identity is not emotional momentum. You are not more of an artist just because you're busy and you've got a job. You're not less of an artist in a quiet one where you're not doing an artistic job. The long game requires emotional steadiness. And I recognize that. This is the long game. Going to those networking, things, we're not like, oh, suddenly I'm working full time this week. It is long game planning. It is networking, slow burn, and that is what we've signed up to. And that's great. It's healthy. It's sustainable. Steadiness is built through that structure. And when I say structure, it's not rigid. It's through the thing of, I need to build a life that supports my art. I need to be meeting people, showing up at these things, forming relationships, putting into this creative tank. Through rhythm, through boundaries, with things that, like I said, that coffee that could have gone in the afternoon. It's very energizing, it's important, but gee, that would have been prime time to do my self-tape, but I didn't, you know what I mean? Through community, through financial realism, and I say that because great writers such as Elizabeth Gilbert will say, I never expected my art to support me financially. I never asked my art to do that for me. For her, she's made a lot of money from her books and she's done fantastically. But it's this thing of going, don't put on your art that pressure. And if it does do that for you, wonderful. That's the dream. I love that. And I champion it and I believe in it and I want us to go for it. But there's also the realistic thing of, I need to build a life that supports my art, that can hold my art in the meantime. Through saying no to things that fracture your focus so you can really focus your energy and life on what is going to drive the needle forward. A life that can hold your art is a life that doesn't collapse every time external validation fluctuates. And that takes maturity, and it takes patience, and it takes courage to build slowly instead of dramatically. And here's the hope. You do not need a different personality to do this. You just need a different structure, maybe, or a few tweaks to your existing week, or maybe just a little bit of structure if there isn't any at all. So this week, ask yourself, what is one structural change I could make that would protect my art, maybe for the next 3 months or 6 months or even 12 months, not just this week. So if you've got something you're like, I want to write a book, maybe you find that time in your week that you're fresh and full of your best work, and you could protect that time. Or maybe if you are a dancer and you've been itching to create something to promote your choreography and you haven't got around to it, what's one structural shift that you could make in order to put that reel together? Or maybe you are a filmmaker and you've been wanting to put some work out there to show people what you do, but you haven't really got around to finding that person that you need to work with. And you go, okay, there's this filmmaker meetup that's once a month at this time, and I never get there because I'm always doing too many things. I'm going to make it a priority. And when I'm there, I'm going to tell them, this is what I'm looking for. Do you know anybody that could do this? And take that brave step. These are little things that make a big difference in our artistry. Building a life as an artist is not about just squeezing art into the cracks of chaos. What's one structural change that you could make to protect your art, maybe for the next 12 months? Write it down and act on one small piece of it. Because we want to be shaping our life around what matters the most to us. Slowly, intentionally, sustainably. I just talked to an author who wants to get her book translated out of her European language and into English so that she can reach more major markets. And that's going to take some structural shifts because it's so much work to apply for those literary agents, and that's going to take time. So what if that for her looked like, okay, on Monday mornings before I go to work, or whatever it is, I am going to apply for one particular literary agent, or I'm going to set a goal of 3 a week. And no matter what, that loose, flexible structure, I'm going to try and do at this time and this time and this time, just to move things forward a little bit. It's not just about squeezing art into these cracks, but it's about shaping your life around what matters most, slowly, intentionally, but sustainably. And I want to talk more about this with you as we go on, because long game artistry and building a life to support, not just squeeze this art into the cracks, is so vital to our creative health and our whole well-being. And if you haven't already, follow and subscribe to this podcast, Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist, so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you are in a relationship, want to be, or you're struggling, or you're married, I have the Marriage, Intimacy and Healing podcast as well that I do with my husband. It's a different side to my work, but it all comes under the not-for-profit we run, Creative Restoration International, where we have the Artist Restoration Program and the Marriage and Relationship Restoration Program. And you can find Marriage, Intimacy and Healing with Andrew and Lara wherever you listen to podcasts, including the one you're on now. And we talk honestly and emotionally about what it takes to have a beautiful marriage, because I am about building a life that supports your creativity so you can show up to this life with as much joy and creative purpose as you can. Head to larabiancapilcher.com to get your coaching session with me one-on-one, to get the free masterclass, Stop Begging for Scraps. Or you can also get Audacious Artistry, my new book, Reclaim Your Creative Identity and Thrive in a Saturated World wherever you live. And I'm with you on the journey, friends, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Artist podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an inspiring conversation or actionable insight. You can read the show notes and learn more at larabiancapilcher.com. And be sure to share this episode with fellow artists who could use a little extra inspiration. Until next time, keep creating, stay audacious, and remember, your artistry matters.